It's Richard from Adventure Off-Road Training here. I've been asked by iTechworld here in Perth if I could make a few educational videos around their products so that when we're buying that product we can make an informed decision. We'll be going through the specifications around those products and what those specifications actually mean. Okay, so let's get into it. The first product we're going to look at is the iTechworld 120X Pro battery. This is a 120 amp hour battery which gives you 120 amp hours of usable energy. This is about half the weight of a battery of the same size and conventional technology, and it's going to give you at least twice the usage out of it. Let's look at that amp rating. What does that actually mean? So if we take 120 amp hours, we could draw 1 amp for 120 hours. If we put this into a more realistic term like our fridge, if we use our fridge and our fridge draws say 5 amps per hour, we've got easily 20 hours of usage out of that battery for our fridge before we get down to say 20% left in the battery. Now when it comes to ratings, you need to know where the bar is set. If we look at the C rating, what does the C rating mean? So this is a C20 rating. This means that it's under laboratory testing. They've drawn this down over a period of 20 hours. The C is your capacity over the 20 hours, okay, at a certain temperature. Now that's 80 Fahrenheit from memory, which is about 26 degrees Celsius, okay? Now that could be somewhere what the back of your car would be in temperature, but certainly in your engine bay or when the car was up north sitting in the sun, that's going to get a lot hotter, and down south that could be a lot cooler. Okay, so those values are going to vary depending on that heat range to a degree. So yeah, so look for that, because that is if you like a standard at which batteries are tested at. Not for say cranking batteries. Cranking batteries are designed to give a big load to crank things over, but then drop off really rapidly. The C rating is a sustained level that it then doesn't suddenly drop off until it gets to that end, and then once it gets down below a certain point, that's when the BMS will shut it down. So BMS, what does that stand for? Bulldog Managing System. It actually stands for Battery Management System. The BMS is the brains of the battery. Effectively, we've got 4 cells in there, 4 lithium cells, and they are controlled by the BMS. So the BMS controls the amount of discharge and charging that the cells receive. Also, it controls the balance between each individual cell. So if this has only got a continual discharge of 100 amp hours, then it means, or 100 amps I should say, it means that we can't run that 2000 watt inverter. So this is important when configuring your system as to what battery requirements you need. And the question to ask is, what is the continuous download on your battery that you're buying to make sure that it's right for what you need. So let's move on to the heart of the battery, which is the lithium cells inside. These batteries use the prismatic cell. There are basically 3 cell types that you can get in the marketplace, or you typically have, which is prismatic, pouch and cylindrical. Okay, this is a prismatic cell. Because of their size, their compaction, we can actually get a higher discharge in a smaller package, and this makes it great for this type of device, like small form factor, small footprint, giving you lots of power and energy. Now these are typically housed in an aluminium casing, the prismatic cells. The thing about that is the fact that being housed in an aluminium sheath, if you like, what we don't want is an environment inside there or any environment where that corrosion can start being aluminium. So this is why this is in a housing. It's an ABS plastic housing, and it is IP67 rated, which means it's dust and waterproof. Effectively, if it got submerged, it wouldn't be a major issue. And it also means that we can put them in an environment which lithium is not typically well suited to, like in the engine bay. So these are rated to go in your engine bay as a drop-in replacement. And the thing there to realize is it is an N70 sort of size. It's just slightly bigger than N70, so it will drop into most battery compartments if we're running that second battery in our engine bay. Now obviously lithium doesn't like a huge amount of heat, which is one of the reasons why, if you're doing that, and they are rated and warranted for engine bays, you'd probably want to buy this as well. So this is a heat shield that you wrap around your battery when you fit it, and it comes, you can buy it as part of the kit. and that means that it protects that heat from the engine bay. Now this is warranted for 5 years, 3 years replacement and 2 years pro rata. And when you think that your battery that you get in your car is only warranted for 1 year anyway, which is your standard charging battery, that's not bad value out of a lithium battery. Okay, a couple of last things. Bluetooth connectivity. This means that we can use an app on our phone to connect to the battery, so we can see state of charge. It doesn't means that we don't have to have an external shunt and monitor to run that, because we've got it here on the phone. The other thing is, for this size, being a sort of a typical N70 size, there is another capacity. It's the 160 amp hour battery. This one's a little heavier. Okay, so same size, same physical size. So if I lift it up there, you can see that. So we've now got 160 amp hours of usable energy. And the beauty with these two is the fact that we can actually put them in something like this battery box, which we'll be going through on our next video. So guys, if you have any technical questions, comment below. We'll do our best to answer those questions next time. We'll catch you later.